Hello and good morning, YouTube and Twitterverse. Welcome to today's incredible new episode of Breakfast with Boom. I am your host, Mr. Boomstick XL, and my goodness, do we have a lot to get into. Lots of Sony talk with the breakdown of the PlayStation 5, potentially Halo Infinite's leaked release date. We also have some new information from Jason Ronald regarding third-party memory solutions that could potentially come in cheaper than the $219.99 it's going to cost if you are going to invest in the 1 terabyte SSD drive to add to your new Xbox consoles, and a bunch of other news that we're going to get into. But let's get right into the introduction so we can break down these outstanding topics. And we'll start with our regular panel because, in fact, everyone is here. No guest today. We are waiting on Crispy Bomb to show up. He'll be here momentarily. And we're going to start with one of the originators, one of the original OGs that helped start, who were one of the first people that join the podcast, BitCloud Gaming. First of all, dude, I want to tell you, your channel has exploded on the scene. You are closing in on an amazing 9,000 subscribers, and it's well deserved. Welcome.
No, we passed it, sir.
Oh, you have it already? Well,
yeah,
yes,
we're past 9,000, sir.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the program, there, Mr. BitCloud.
Thank you very much. It is good time, man. Great time to be a gamer. Next gen consoles launch next month. And everybody's excited. I can't wait to get mine. It's gonna be an awesome, prosperous gen, that's for sure. But thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here. Congrats to you on all the latest groundbreaking achievements I've been seeing you do. So congrats. I keep telling you before, you was like, I don't know, but I say good things are in your future. So keep it up, man. But,
definitely appreciate the compliment. Also, definitely appreciate you being here. Next up, you know him, someone that has cost me quite a pretty penny. I can't afford a Coke now, thanks to Mr. Badbit, who is on loan from PlayStation Nation up there. He's got something in his hand. Hopefully it's a coffee. Mr. Badbit, you, my friend, have been doing some excellent things on your channel. Welcome to today's program.
It's a Winston coffee mug.
Excellent.
I woke up 30 minutes ago. I'm ready for the show. I got a question, though, for BitCloud. First off, congratulations on 9,000. That's huge.
Thank you.
Secondly, what's your trophy level now?
I have so before they converted it into, I guess you can call them PlayStation points. Yeah, that's what they're called now. I was level 30 and I had 125 platinums.
Jesus.
So that translated into 427 as a level. So I think that's what they said. Yeah, that's what it is.
That's an excellent number. I'm only at 300. I
like that though. It's a cool competitive approach. You know, everybody has a level now. It's pretty.
It makes me now want to go out there and actually start hunting for trophies. You know.
No, it's a new gym, man. Have fun.
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously,
let's go.
It's the trophies are fun. The trophies, obviously, trophies and achievements. I'm more of an achievement hunter because obviously I play more of the Xbox than I do the PlayStation. But I do have four platinums, not bad, and I had a level 13 in trophies. Again, for someone that plays it for mostly its exclusives, that's actually not quite bad, to be honest. But listen, it is what it is. Next up, you know him as someone that has saved the day more times than I can count. I call him Superman. You can call him Dreadpool. Welcome to the program there, dude.
Oh, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I got my breakfast already going. You got the waffles and bacon and syrup. No chicken. I don't do the chicken with waffles, but bacon and waffles and the syrup. That's the best thing. But I'm sitting in my Superman cape and my underoos and, ready to rock and roll.
Well, listen, let's no, it's certainly not. Sharing is caring. That's what they say. I am looking. What we're going to do is we're going to jump right into the Jason Ronald story. And obviously, this is part of the Bytes and Bits section of the show. Again, smaller topics that may not necessarily be discussed on other programs. But here they have room to breathe, and we can also take the time to discuss some of the smaller aspects of gaming, some things that potentially get swept under the rug because of the size of the conversation. So, many in the community, including myself, we were holding our breaths, awaiting the price of the 1 terabyte expansion card for the Series X and S, which was obviously confirmed a couple of weeks ago to be $219.99. Now, listen, there's no doubt that it was a bit of a sticker shock for many, including me. I mean, I have 2 of them pre-ordered, and I may just drop one off of the list and just get one for now because of this particular story on what we're going to talk about. Now, one of the most convenient things about the 1 terabyte expansion card by Seagate is the ease of use. It simply plugs into the back of your console, and that's it. Nice and easy, no fuss, no muss. And of course, there's a lot of technology behind it. So the $220 price point, it's worth its weight in that price. The problem is that for a couple bucks more, you can get a console. So, I mean, obviously, this is probably not going to be flying off the shelves unless maybe we can get some sort of a Black Friday kind of a sale. But thanks to our good friends at _Xbox News on Twitter and, of course, r/Xbox on Reddit, they're reporting that Jason Ronald, Xbox PM, has clarified that the Xbox Series X and S storage expansion cards will also be made by other companies in different form factors and sizes moving forward. Now, that is pretty interesting. So I want to get to what Jason Ronald had to say regarding it. And these are direct quotes from him. He says, "I think over time you will see this as a category that is really critical to us. You'll see multiple options and different form factors and different sizes. But what is really important for us is that we had a simple ease of use option available day one. You can expect to see more options moving forward." And that is coming from Jason Ronald. And obviously, he was involved heavily in the design and creation of these new consoles. And here's what Aaron Greenberg had to say on what Jason Ronald quotes. He says, "Big kudos to Jay Ronald and our hardware team for their approach to making next generation expandable storage options easy for our fans. More to come here, and beards rule." Yeah, Jason Ronald's got a vicious beard. There's no doubt about that. So, I mean, again, not the biggest topic of the day. Yeah, a great way to start the show. And I'll start with BitCloud. BitCloud, when you hear, that right now, there's only one option. So that one option is $220. And people may shy away from it because of the price. People may just keep their old HD drives or even buy SSD drives and just transfer the games back and forth as needed. And obviously with the speed of these consoles, that's not going to be a problem. You may have to wait 15 minutes to move a game, maybe 7 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. But do you think that it's better to, in your opinion, as a consumer, is it nice to know that there's going to be options, potentially bigger hard drives, smaller SSD drives, and obviously because there's going to be different people making it, the price is going to be a very heavy competition. We could get these things cheaper than what we're going to pay now.
Oh yeah, it's perfectly great that you're going to get more options in the future. Like I don't know if you heard Western Digital, they just confirmed that they just came out with an SSD that is compatible with PS5.
Yep, so I got it right in front of me. We're going to talk about that in the breakdown. I got the prices and everything. So I'm ready to go with that. Yeah,
it's good to see that they're getting on board with this, and more people are going to be supporting this and giving options. So I would say probably another 2 years, maybe another year or so. We'll have an option for bigger than 1 terabyte for sure. But I mean, again, it's just the start. It's always like this at the start. You always had the smaller hard drives. Then when you get further down the gen, you get those cheaper options of bigger storage. I do think it is kind of smart, though, honestly, to just delete stuff that you know for a fact you're not going to play, at least to save you some money. I've done that with PS4 for the longest. Like, when I'm done with a game, like, let's say Platinum it, and I know for a fact I'm not going to play it again, I just don't have it on there no more. Like, some games that's on my hard drive that's maintained and stayed on there for the longest, it's games that I know for a fact that I'll play with friends. Like, for example, Rocket League. I still play Rocket League to this day on PS4, or something like that has a good multiplayer that I really enjoy. But I do think it's just best to wait until you get the better options. That way you have the best value in general, because $200 for 1 terabyte, it's not that best, because those hard drives are definitely going to fill up faster. And on top of that, these games have gotten even bigger. I mean, you see it with Spider-Man. That's like over 100 gigs already.
Yeah.
So
well, I think that's including both games, though. I think, right? That's including okay. So so it's not just miles that's a part of that 100 gigs. Jesus Christmas,
it's crazy.
I remember when we thought 50 was a lot.
Yeah, and then Red Dead 2, which is one of the best games of this gen, broke the fourth wall. Remember, it was like 100 gigs for that game, and then after that, it was like, okay, hopefully we never get back down here. And it's like, well, we're back here. We're back to square one. And obviously, games get even bigger if you really think about it. They really want to add, extra content to these games, depending on what it is. It get even bigger.
Yeah,
so that's how I said. I said, what's your rank in Rocket League? Rocketeer.
Nice. That's one of the games I actually platinumed. As a matter of fact, I platinumed Rocket League. I loved it so much. Loved Rocket League. Got really good at it. I haven't played it in a while, but let's go to Dreadpool. Now, Dreadpool, listen, here's the thing. Again, when you're looking at when we simply compare prices, you say, well, I can get a Series S for $299, or I can go buy a 1 terabyte memory card for $229. The value proposition, it seems to be a little wonky, but again, we have to remember the size of this card isn't bigger than maybe a quarter and a half. The technology in the NVMe SSD, and this is, I believe, is the 4.0, is expensive. It is ultra expensive. Now, will it come down in price? Well, of course it will. But when you hear Jason Ronald and more specifically Microsoft, especially through Aaron Greenberg, confirming that third-party options are going to be coming in the future and relatively soon, I would imagine. Are you interested to see how the pricing structure is going to go? I mean, could we see maybe a third party company release one of these drives at maybe $150, $140 as opposed to $229?
No, not this early. Even being competitive, they're going to match up the prices. If you look at, let's see, the first Samsung NVMe 4.0 is over $200, and that's the 980. Okay, so that's the actual chewing stick gum. Now, for them to re-engineer that into a memory card it's going to cost them a pretty penny too. So
yeah,
I think what happened was Microsoft just went with Seagate just so they can figure out how to do this, and then obviously open it up to anybody else that wants to do it, because they're all making NVMe's right now. They all know the technologies. It's all about the controller that's inside that. Obviously, it's a controller, so it controls where everything sits in the memory, in the storage. So the better the controller, the faster that everything can go through, the better quality products you have in there. Your speed increases without any hiccups. So for them to do that, they have to redesign it to fit that design for the memory card. I don't see it going down anytime soon, but competition will breed better pricing for us. As soon as somebody comes out, they may come out like $10 cheaper or $20 cheaper. Right now, even if you look for anything for the NVMe's, I'm looking at a Western Digital, which I usually look at Western Digital NVMe's subpar to Samsung, and theirs is $229. It's the black edition that, ironically, I don't know if we're going to get into this later, but ironically, this is the first one that's been confirmed.
Yeah, we're gonna bring it up in the back end just to give people the idea.
Yeah, so it's $229. Okay, so right there, that's $230 just for.
Well, I mean, listen, being that you talked about it, let's basically let the cat out of the bag, because we're not going to spend too much time on this. First of all, just so people understand, the memory solution for the Xbox, right, which is the Seagate 1 terabyte expansion drive, is $229. That's the only one that's available. They don't have a 500. They don't have a two terabyte as of yet. The stick that Dreadpool is talking about that we're going to get into when we talk about the breakdown of the PlayStation 5. Their 500, they have three versions. They have a 500 gigabyte, that's $150. The 1 terabyte is $230, right? So that's $10 more than the Xbox One. But check this out. When you go to 2 terabytes, folks, $450.
See, and that's actually pretty cheap, considering when you double from 1 terabyte to 2 terabyte, it's more than double
Yeah.
in price.
Yeah.
And when you go from 2 to 4, it's literally like 4 times the amount of the 2 terabyte. Obviously, in this one here, they're not making that size just yet. But when you look at the other ones, when it's the PCIe Gen 3,
Yeah, you look like $800 for like
yeah,
six.
it's
exactly.
Memory is not cheap. I mean, again, a 2 terabyte drive will cost you as much as a series. Think about this for a second, folks. This thing isn't bigger than a stick of gum. Okay.
Yep.
Think about this. How serious this memory stuff is. A stick of gum is going to cost you. Now, granted, it's not a stick of gum, folks. It's a freaking NVMe memory card, but it's like a stick of gum. One of these 2 terabyte drives will potentially cost you $50 less than an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 with disk drive. I mean, holy shit! Are we kidding me? So when you compare, their 1 terabyte versus the 1 terabyte, listen, folks, memory is expensive. These are top of the line consoles. And the one thing that I want people to realize is when the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 first launched, that was old technology. Okay, these new consoles, both of them, are doing things that PC, the master race, is not doing yet. They will be doing it, but Microsoft and Sony have put a lot of the development time, a lot of know-how and tech into these consoles. And to be honest with you, I think, and I'm not sounding like a boob here, I think we're lucky we're only paying $500, to be honest, based on the tech that's coming in these things.
See, last gen was only a half step. The half gen that we between the Pro and the One X is also a half step. This is finally the next full step that we're finally getting.
This is true next gen for sure. Yeah.
So, and then you got to also remember, if you're going to compare the hard drive or the memory side, the expansion memory for $230 compared to a $300 console, that $300 console only has 512 gigabytes on there. So if you're going to buy that and the memory, just go ahead and buy an X. You know what I mean? If you're trying to save money, it's just like when you first originally bought the 360 and you bought the arcade version. It costs you more money to buy the add-on hard drive than it did just to buy the console straight up. So if you guys are looking at this stuff, forward think in your purchase like you would a PC. Forward think what you're going to do. So is it worth the money now? No, but if in the future you're going to go this way, don't skimp out. Figure out what you're looking for. If 512 is enough for you to play your games, and you're going to just constantly delete, and you don't have a download size limit from your provider, then have at it. But if you do, you might want to reconsider your sizing. Don't forget, this is only for the fast storage for playing the next gen games. All your old hard drives will still work, so you don't have to panic.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. But again, we also have to remember the old hard drives are still going to be workable. You just can't load your games from that. So you just have to move them. And we've heard that these SSDs are moving them in 7 minutes, 10 minutes. I mean, listen, if you're going to play a game, I'll put it to this way. As a gamer, you know which 6 games you're going to play, which is probably we're going to be able to have 6 to 8 games, I would imagine, depending on the size. You know what you're going to be playing. And if there's something that you're going to want to play, then you just move it over while you're playing something else, and it's not going to be a problem. I mean, again, you don't have to spend the money. You just have to be a little bit more wise with your with your storage capability. That's it. But Joe, I want to go to you next on this, Mr. Badbit. Obviously, the pricing for both of these, the stick versus the card, they're very similar. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm immediately going to upgrade my PlayStation 5 memory. Would love to get the 2 terabyte, but I'm not spending $450. I can't. That's ridiculous. I'll just pay the 250 or the whatever it is, the 230.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts hearing Jason Ronald come out already and say that, listen, take it easy. Third party, are coming, and obviously we just wanted options right now. So I think that's why they teamed up with Seagate to give us something now. Yeah. And then obviously later the third parties will come in. Hopefully they'll be able to be competitive.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, I think Jason Ronald saw the PlayStation 5 teardown and saw the expansion slot and seeing that, this thing's going to be compatible with many different sizes of cards, right? Like PlayStation 5 is giving you a lot of options there to choose and pick and choose. Like you could choose that Western Digital. You could also probably choose the Samsung that I have in my computer for, I think it was like 180. So like you can shop around. So Jason Ronald's really saying that to kind of say, whoa, don't worry. This is not like the standard how we would handle proprietary stuff, which is give you a bit of a markup, and this is the only thing you're able to buy until we decide otherwise. So they're really coming out ahead and saying, no, we're giving you choice. We're giving you this option right now because it's the most expedient. And so that makes sense. That makes sense that they would do this. To me, I'm on the boat that I've said this prior that like this is kind of like the SD card situation on the Nintendo Switch in terms of when the Switch came out, a 120 card was like 80-ish bucks up to 100 now. It's
dude. Yeah.
And then it just nosedived down after a year or two on the market. I think we're going to see that similar to the SSDs that are going to be implemented in the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series. Because like PC building is bigger than it's ever has been. Hard drives keep going down in price year after year. And with these cards in these consoles, it really does say that, these things are the next big thing in terms of memory for your console or for your PC rather. So to me, I'm always on the boat of like, this is going to be just like your Xbox 360 hard drives where you started at the beginning gen with 20 gigs, and then you ended it with 250 for the same price, right? That's what I'm thinking it's going to be in this generation, where we start off with the low number, which is probably anywhere between 600 to 800. And then we're going to end up probably around like, a solid 1.5, 2 gigs per console type of deal. And with these cards then going down in price as years go on. So to me, I always like, I'm always going to be on the camp of like, you don't need this right now. If you don't have a data cap, like I don't, then you could just literally install and or uninstall, how you please.
Yes,
at will. So to me, like also knowing that most of these games or like for PlayStation, I'll probably fill up that hard drive within a year, but that's if I don't take anything off. And I usually once I'm done, I just uninstall. So like to me, I'm going to hold out for at least a year. I want a 2 gig card at a reasonable price before I drop that bucket of cash, because I think 2 gigs is really the sweet spot. So I'll drop that cash, but at a later date. I do like that they're giving us options, though, both of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, you don't necessarily have to buy these cards. You don't have to buy the stick of gum. You don't have to buy the little memory card. You can simply do exactly what Mr. Babbitt said, is uninstall at will if you don't have any data caps. I don't have a data cap, so that's what I do. But I still have stuff on my hard drives. I have 14 terabytes of hard drive space right now. I mean, just to give you guys a quick comparison, I was looking into potentially getting a 2 terabyte SSD drive, a portable, that you just plug in, and that's almost $300. So I mean, the memory situation, especially when you start getting into SSDs, is expensive. So again, you can play off of your SSD. You cannot play off of your hard drive. That will have to be moved over. Let me just catch up on some. What's that?
Clarification. On the Xbox, you cannot play next gen games.
Next gen games. That's correct.
Right.
Yes. Next gen games you cannot play, but you can play smaller titles from the Xbox 360, the OG Xbox. I don't necessarily know about the Xbox One. You might be able to play some, but next gen games you have to play off of the SSD drive. So, let me catch up some of your super chats, and we will get right into the next topic. Sin Vendetta, a good and generous friend of the show, drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, went from level 12 to level 212 with 13 platinums. I haven't checked my level, so I have to see what I'm at. I'm probably not even at 200 because I only have 4 platinums. It's Joker drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Says, can't wait for the Series X in 4 weeks and counting. All of them haters can go blowing their controllers. Peace. We also have effing nuisance drops a very generous $2 super sticker. Thank you for that, effing nuisance. Definitely appreciate it. Hero of the day yesterday, Eagles fan 76. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this gentleman, right before the show went live, dropped the hot button information that the Series X was available for pre-order at Costco. And of course, I was able to make that announcement live on the air with the 1,400 folks that we had in the. Yes, I'm laughing because I still can't believe that many people tuned in for it. But we had almost 1,400 folks that came out yesterday. And I want to say there was a significant amount of people that not only wrote in the chat that did yes, thanks to the information provided by, of course, Eagles fan 76, that they were able to get theirs, and Joe is one of them. I'm one of them because I got the one we needed for the giveaway, and there were a lot of people that were very, very happy. I got a lot of messages on the YouTube channel itself as well as on Twitter. So of course he was the hero of yesterday. He drops an outstanding $2 super chat, and he says, none of the SSDs are worth it until 2 terabyte under 200. From your mouth to the gaming god's ears, my friend. That's what I'm talking about. We have Axel 1324 drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, I delete games that I don't think I'm going to play anymore. But just the other day, I played one of those using xCloud, no install needed. Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Shane Tomlin drops a very generous $5 and says, boom, that's not correct. Jason Ronald said that the only thing you will lose is loading times, ray tracing, and everything else you get. No, that if you're going to play next gen again, you have to play it off of your internal SSD drive. I can't say for Sony. I don't know. I don't know what Sony. I know for what Jason Ronald said, you need to play off of your SSD on your, or obviously it's the memory card, which is technically inside your console, as well as the 1 terabyte SSD that's built in. So thank you for the super chat and thank you for the clarification. We have Kay Asante, a very generous friend of the show. He drops an outstanding $2 super chat. Says all Xbox One games can be played on the XS on the Series X external. Okay, so that's good to know. Also, so if you're playing Xbox One games, you can play off the external. That's interesting.
Yes.
So I want to move on to another topic. Now, again, folks, there is not a lot of meat and potatoes on this particular topic. So I just, again, it's a lot of speculatory that I pulled from a particular article, but I think it's interesting nonetheless, and certainly worth a conversation, at least in my opinion. Obviously, with the delay of Halo Infinite, many in the Xbox community, including myself, were crushed. And since then, there has been little to no information on exactly when the long-awaited sequel is coming out. Well, that is until now. Now, at the moment, there's been no word on a release date or even a release window. However, Amazon may have just leaked the release date for this major Xbox title potentially coming in 2021. Now, over on Amazon, they have available The Art of Halo Infinite hardcover book. It has gone up for pre-order with the release date of June 29th, 2021. Now, June 29th is a Tuesday, most common for big games to be released, other than, of course, Fridays. But here is where we get into the weeds, and again, the bit of speculation, or should I say, take my hand and let's go down to speculation town. Most of these art books are released day and date with their games. Now, have they released before and after? Sure. But to push sales of these art books, they are usually made available the same day the game is available. So June 29th is when the art book is available, which is being, again, it's pre-orderable right now, and it is going to be released on the 29th of June. Now, here is something else that I find to be interesting. We know that next year, God willing, E3 will be making its triumphant return. E3 is normally the ending of the first week of June going into the second. Like, I think last year I was in LA from the 9th through the 13th, if I'm not mistaken. So it's interesting that, again, we have no idea what the development is going on with Halo Infinite. Did they have to scrap everything? Like I said, the story's there, the gameplay is there. They just needed to do something with the graphics, and then I think you're going to have a perfect package. How far is 343? I don't know. Do they internally think they're going to hit June? But I don't know either. I don't know that either. But it is suspicious, and there might be something to this, because it would be pretty epic if at E3 2021, if there is one, of course, that Microsoft not only showed us maybe potentially side-by-side comparisons of what Halo launched on July 23rd looked like and what they were able to do with it, with all the extra time and baking in the oven. You know, they could do a side-by-side comparison, and they can turn around and they can get everyone excited to say, yes, this is what it looked like. We heard the fans. We went back into the drawing board, and this is what it looks like now. Oh, and P.S., by the way, it's releasing June 29th. And the crowd and the world would just crack open in excitement. So I'll go to Dreadpool first on this. Dreadpool, again, this is a very speculatory kind of a conversation that we're about to have. But like I said, the evidence is there. A good portion of these art books always release side by side with their game to push sales of said art book. Do you think there's any truth to this?
Well, you know, we didn't hear about this art book until after it got delayed. So it kind of might have already been set in process, and maybe because it's already there as a bookmark, and when they said that they're going to push it back and give it a few more months to polish it and make sure it's the game we want, it's a good possibility that they just said, you know, they'll match it up with that, so that way they can keep that hype going. Not only are you getting the game, you're getting the book to reference. You know, anytime you have movies, you know, you have graphic novels that follow or ahead of it. Usually they follow, so they don't give any spoilers away. So with that being said, you know, if they're doing this graphic book for that, you know, for us to look at and see the art style and everything that they've done in that process, it could also well be a good predecessor to the game being released. Will they have enough time, though? That's the other question. Will they have enough time to do that? So there should be enough time, depending on where they were in development by that time. So could they push it back, like we've already previously said, but prior to have it for the anniversary date? We don't know. But I think one of those two would be a good spot. So yeah, you know, like I said, with the hype going around, with the book coming out, the game coming out, they both would help the other sell. So it's a good, you know, mesh to keep them both together.
Yeah, no, obviously, again, I don't think it's going to take much to have to sell Halo Infinite per se, but the art book would certainly be a nice caveat, if you will, when you walked into GameStop or Best Buy or wherever else sells the games. And if you are a fan like me, I do buy the art books of games that I'm a big fan of. Like I have all of Division artwork for Division 1 and 2. I have all the artwork for Titanfall 1 and 2. I have one for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So I don't buy as many because I don't have the space, but I do have quite a few.
Yeah, and who doesn't buy collector's versions for the games that they love, you know?
Exactly.
And then, like you said, you buy those books for those games. This is just another add-on to have as another trophy around your collection to add to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, Joe, I want to go to you next on this. You know, obviously you are a huge Halo fan. I don't think people understand how big of a Halo fan you are.
He pulled out the gun.
He brought out the gun, yeah, and he's always good to be on camera with his guns. Very nice.
Second Amendment right here.
There you go. Ready to take down the Covenant or
the Covenant, man,
or the Banished, or the Banished, more specific.
Or the Banished. Don't even care if it's the Prometheans either. I'm taking them out.
We don't like the Prometheans in this channel. Sorry. But Joe, here's the thing. With the July 23rd event, but well behind us, and the fan reaction and the reaction from, of course, the gaming media wasn't good. But when you say July 23rd, and then you talk about maybe potentially this becoming true and saying June 29th, that is 11 months and some change removed. I don't know. I'm not a developer. I couldn't tell you if that's enough time, but it certainly could be enough time, especially if you think that many of the cases have already been made. The artwork for the for the said cases are already made. The advertisement artwork for the for the release of Halo Infinite probably is already done, which they of course just put on the back burner till the game is ready. So is it likely, or in your opinion, unlikely, that they could hit this rumored leaked June 29th date to match the artwork of Halo Infinite?
So I think the artwork is probably, if it's anything like the Miles Morales art book that we saw 2 days ago get teased, that art book's coming out in February. So theoretically, this Halo art book could actually be a little later than the game actually releases. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we've seen people like Colt Eastwood and Tim Dog allude to the fact that this game is closer than we're thinking that it is.
Oh, interesting. So, I missed that.
Yeah, so this could be, I could be wrong. You could quote me on that if I'm wrong, and bash me over the head with it. I could be, but that's what I've heard. It's more Q2 than Q1, but it's closer. Honestly, to me, I'm just, when the game's ready, the game's ready. So like, take all the time you need. That new leadership there, take all the time you need, make this game the best Halo game it can possibly be, and I'm good. It could be Q2, it could be Q4, as long as the game comes out, because there's so much expectations now on this game, even more than it already was. This game has to be stellar. So, whatever it's going to take for that game to finish its fight and come out on whatever time it needs, I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm right there with you. I'm in the camp. I mean, listen, for me, as someone who appreciates dates, specifically anniversaries and birthdays and special occasions of that nature, I think, and again, I would not suggest that if the game was ready to go that you would hold it back for this. But because I'm in your camp where, please, by all means, for the love of the gaming gods, take all the effing time you could possibly want. What I would love to see happen is a celebration of Master Chief. And how could you do that in 2021? Well, how I would do it if I worked for marketing, and I'm looking to work for Microsoft marketing. If you folks are listening, hit me up in a DM, or the business email is available. We'll have a conversation.
You got it.
I would love to see them release this on the 20th anniversary of the Halo franchise. And you could use that celebratory date, which is November 15th, 2021, as a way to release a special edition custom Series X, Series S, some controllers, a statue or three. You could really let your hair down and really excite the fan base, not only because it's the 20th anniversary. Not only are you getting all of this swag that you can turn around and upgrade, but you're going to get a game that has had enough time to do everything right. So when it releases, it gets a 95 on Metacritic. It is critically and commercially successful for Microsoft. That's what I would do. And talking about it, folks, I got goosebumps because that's how much of a Halo fan I am. I want to go to BitCloud on this. I just painted an incredible picture. I would even say that it's a Picasso.
Oh, yeah.
Do you agree that, I mean, again, we're talking about the June 29th date, which is a little weird for me because it's not the time you would put out a Halo title. That's just me. That's more of a fall-esque kind of a title. But when you hear that these art books potentially sometimes come right alongside the game, is this leak possible, or do you think it's more maybe we get it and Microsoft sees the potential of the celebratory aspect of Master Chief and they wait to the fall of 2021?
Honestly, I'm surprised they just didn't announce it and they're going to do it in general. Because the last time we had Halo be treated kind of like an event in general was back with the 360 with Halo 3.
Yes, I know that released on my birthday, as a matter of fact.
So you had the console, you had an event, you had the collector's editions, the steel, but you had it all with the game. And it's like you haven't had anything like that since then.
Yes,
it would be perfect to do that, especially when it's officially ready. You come out with a custom themed Series X, you push the controllers, do all that. I'm personally down with that. Hell, even announce an Elite controller if possible.
Yes,
the Halo Infinite and push it.
I put it to this way: if you guys recall, the 360 controllers that came with the little Master Chief figure were designed by Todd McFarlane. Like those controllers, it was a celebration. They had the cat head helmet,
and all that were perfect. Like that blue Halo Reach design, the blue and silver.
It was incredible. It really, really well done. And again, it was an exciting time to be a Halo fan. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I honestly don't know. But
like what you said, it was an exciting time to be a Halo fan, and it's that type of stuff they need to bring back. Make it exciting, make it worthwhile, make it eventful. See what I'm saying? Make that moment last. That's what they need to do.
Well, it would be a rebirth because obviously it was a bit of a hiccup to get where they're going to get to. So it would be one of those hiccups that you can turn around and you can say, oh yeah, here is Crispy Bomb. Hey, Crispy, welcome to the show there, brother. We'll get him in a second. But it would be a very exciting time considering that it came from a hiccup, right? June 23rd. It's a time that we remember. The Craig memes are all over the place, right? Obviously, but it would be pretty epic to have that kind of event. And you said it. The last time we celebrated Halo in an event that was that the news covered was during the Halo 3 release, where it was.
They had toys, they had T-shirts, they had hats.
Yes, I had them all, dude. I had it all, dude. It was crazy.
It would legit felt like a legit holiday. It was strictly for Halo. That's what needs to be brought back.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree 100%. Crispy Bomb, are you there, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we certainly can. Welcome to the program there, dude.
A little bit of an issue with the mic today.
So listen. Well, we hear you perfectly fine. Actually, we were actually just about to move on to the next topic, but you're here, so let's talk about it. And we're talking about Halo. Now, obviously, you took a look at the show notes, and Amazon had put out a release date for June 29th, The Art of Halo Infinite. Now, like we were saying in earlier, a good portion of these art books are usually usually in air quotes, released side by side with the game. Do you think that this is a leaked release date, and could it possibly be coming on June 29th, or do you think that Microsoft potentially will hold this release if the game is not the way that they want it, giving 343 as much time as they need, and do a celebratory release on the 15th of November, which just so happens to be the 20th anniversary of the Halo franchise?
That's tough to say because I don't think they want to wait that long with this game. They really don't want people to feel like something really is wrong, like not just COVID related stuff. I feel halfway through the year is about right. There's not a lot of games announcing right now for the June quarter. This is also, the 29th is not a placeholder because that would be more like June 1st or June 30th.
Yeah, that's they said that in the story. It would be the 1st or the 30th. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is possible. I mean, they could change the date whenever they want. So, if they haven't taken it down yet, though, they might just be teasing. You never know. I mean, they could be like, "Hey, let's play with your feels a little bit." Because
well, I hope not.
there's a lot of people excited for this game, and we don't really know what that demo actually, how actually important it was. I mean, it's one of those things. Like I played Gears 4, that demo, the beta.
Yes.
And it looked just about like that, to be honest with you. And then when I played the actual game, my God, you're like, is this the same game? What? But it looked like more like texture, stuff like that could be added. So I feel like it will be probably halfway through the year. I think there's something to this.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to be interesting. The picture that I painted, besides the one in November, was that we know that E3 2021 is scheduled to come back to LA. Again, I don't know if COVID is still going to be a thing. Potentially, it could be. So we may have a digital event, but we do know that E3 is happening in June. Usually, it's the first week going into the second week. Wouldn't it be pretty epic, Crispy, if Microsoft got out on stage, took a side-by-side screens gameplay trailer and said, this is what it looked like in July 23rd that people were not happy with. This is what it looks like now. They run the exact same side-by-side comparison, and you're like, holy shit, they really did it. This looks incredible.
What?
This is what I expected. And then at the end of that trailer, Phil Spencer says, June 29th, Halo Infinite will be available.
I think that would be great, but you also got to tout 4K 120 frames per second, and then you're really talking. Now,
for sure.
you've made a definite reason, to show it off in that way. I think would be awesome. To say that they would do that, not necessarily. They might just show the game itself, but tout the 4K 120 FPS on the Series X. They got to be. It's going to be a little difficult for them in E3 because they got to be very specific on what each console can do. So, I think we're going to see the Series S, shown on certain games, the Series X shown on certain games, because they do want to advertise both, but they have to be very specific. So I'm hoping that, we get to see 4K 120 a lot more though.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think we're going to, again, on RDX this Tuesday, Aaron Greenberg had confirmed live on the air that the next gen gameplay is coming, and it's coming soon, as well as the official launch list for the Series X and S. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some more information this Monday, which is usually an Xbox Monday, and it's going to be interesting to see what information they release next week. But I want to move on to the next topic. But before I do, let me just again catch up on some of these incredible super chats. We have one from Simon Brandy, who drops a very generous $5 super chat and says the latter infinite chips, the later infinite chips, the better. I want Halo to be the best it can be. Gamers need to show patience for once. Keep up the good work, Boom. Well, thank you, Simon. Definitely appreciate that. And I agree. I say take all the time you need to make this the AAA banger Halo game that we all want. Kay Asante shows his generosity once again with an additional $5 super chat. Says, to play devil's advocate, there has been a bunch of other Halo tie-ins coordination that have been that has been ruined by the delay. This could be one of those. Indeed, it certainly can be one of those. Maybe this is something that was going to come almost a year from now. I can't say, but I know that when that book releases, it's going to contain spoilers of things that we don't that we were going to experience in the game. I will buy the book. I will not read that book or even bother looking at it until the game comes out, because I don't want anything spoiled. We have Sin Vendetta, another very generous friend, shows his generosity once again with an additional $5 super chat. Says, I don't know if you saw it, Boom, but the Medium got a December 10th release date. Looking forward to it. Yeah, dude, I'm happy it has a release date, but I'm not gonna front. I am disappointed, because if every conversation I've had with anyone that asked me, Boom, what is the first game that you're going to play on your Series X? It was going to be the Medium. Unfortunately, we're going to get it a month later, which is, I suppose, fine, because there's going to be steady content coming out. But I really wanted to play that game, so I'm a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie about that, but we know at least it's coming this year. They did say holiday. Holiday is in December, so I really can't blame them. But again, when that game comes out, I will eat that game up. I'm a big horror fan. I'm looking forward to it. Clutchman 01 drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, side note, bought the Forza 7 disc back on release. Saw it was now in Game Pass and loaded the game right up without the disc inside. Hashtag winning. Yeah, that's the one thing great about Game Pass. If it's saved on your hard drive, you're just going to load it up like as if you are playing the disc. But I want to go into the next topic, and this one happened late yesterday. And very interesting, I might add. We have something that shocked the game. And this is another blockbuster move by Microsoft. Now, obviously, look, the Bethesda deal shocked the gaming industry in a way I don't think we're ever going to look at these deals again. I think it was as big as anyone could have ever guessed. But yesterday, Gamestop and Microsoft has announced a partnership that aims to advance GameStop's key strategic pillars and extend its digital omni-channel ecosystem. Hold on just a second.
Who do I need to fight, Boom? Oh, okay, good.
No, I'm here. This is I saw a lot of people poo-pooing this deal yesterday, and I have to be honest with you. I think that this is a much bigger deal. Now, I was talking about this in the private chat. I was lucky enough 2 weeks ago to be reached out by a source that I have used before. And it's a source that is not attached to GameStop. They're a third-party source that has given me some pretty good tidbits. And they had the stuff that they have provided me, I can now share because basically the cat is out of the bag. But I didn't know it was a partnership with GameStop. What had been explained to me is that the GameStops themselves are getting an overhaul in their interior design. And in front of the register, that Microsoft had spent a significant amount of money for that wall space when you first walk into your favorite GameStop. Now, I know a lot of people are like, GameStop sucks, Boom. What are you talking about? Well, that's for you. I buy all my shit from GameStop. I love them. I love my points. I've gotten hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of free gift cards because I spent some money in there. I'm closing in on 1 million points, folks. 1 million lifetime points at GameStop. I spend some money there. So I like the store. I like the little bonuses. So when I heard this, because obviously this generation, when you walked into a GameStop, what did you see first? You saw Sony everything from emerald blue as far as the eye can see, and you didn't see green because it was all the way tucked in the back corner, like no one, like the bargain basement corner. Right? Well, thanks to this particular deal, Microsoft has partnered with GameStop, and it's good for two reasons. One, it's going to put Microsoft's next gen consoles in your face. When you walk into the store, see now again, Dread, and I'm going to go to you first on this because you and I have had this conversation numerous times. My personal biggest beef with Microsoft, and I work with them. I've worked with Microsoft. I am working with them right now. I just can't specifically say what I'm doing. And I have had Larry on the show. I've talked about them. I've been critical about their marketing, and for good reason. Their marketing has been subpar at best. We have seen a turnaround, and this is a big deal because whether you like GameStop or not, there are 5,000 plus stores around the world. Okay, that is a lot of stores with a lot of employees and a lot of room to sell your consoles. If you walk into said store and you were not sure what an Xbox was, that $299 price point is going to be up in your face. They're going to, from what I understand, what it was explained to me, the tip that I was given a couple of weeks ago is that it's going to have a giant glass case with both consoles. It's going to have a 55-inch 8K TV up there for you to see the games running, and everything is going to be within reach while you're standing online waiting to pay for whatever you're there for. Right in front of the register. This is a massive turnaround for Team Xbox. They were behind the 8-ball almost the entire generation with Sony's, and I said this before, and people laugh at me, 24-inch Python of marketing that they currently have. Now, granted, I will admit it has diminished a bit, but you're going to see that marketing come back because it's Sony. They didn't lose their marketing people. They're the same people there. You're going to see the big marketing come back. But this is a big deal, folks, because not only does it keep GameStop from going out of business, which would have devastated me. I think that would have devastated the industry. Even if you don't shop there, it's a game-specific store. It's different than walking into a GameStop to find what you want than walking into a Walmart and saying, I don't see what I want, because you know GameStop is going to have it. The same thing walking into a Target or even a Best Buy. It's not a game store. It's an electronic store. GameStop is a game store. That is what we want. That's at least what I want. Dread, when you hear this deal, when you see these two monster corporations coming together, knowing that in this generation, Microsoft has failed with their marketing, to see them teaming up with, of course, GameStop, the biggest gaming retailer in this country and potentially some places around the world, does this get you excited to see what marketing capabilities are going to come from the next generation when concerning Xbox?
So what I picture is me walking inside a GameStop with an Xbox shirt on, and they're going to still ask me, do you want a PlayStation 5 game, or would you like to just download it using our free Wi-Fi?
You know what? I see what you're saying, and yeah, they do push that joke. Narrative, but I don't think that's going to be the case because there's going to be training and marketing, and they're just not going to be allowed to do that if you want to continue to work there.
No, that's more of a joke. And that's the funny thing is because if you have Game Pass, you can just download it. There's no need in theory, right? But people just like us, you, and others in the chat, we'll go to the GameStop or another gaming store, and we will go and buy a game or some sort of let's say credit or just anything that's that goes with the game. You know what I mean? Some sort of accessory or something. Okay, so the good thing about this is, one, it keeps the store's livelihood a little bit longer, right? So now they're not on a respirator. They moved them out of ICU, and they're still in the hospital. Right?
That's a good reference.
Okay, but they're still in the hospital, so they're recovering. But we'll see what happens. Now, with that being said, they're going through the training. They're going to use everything that deals with Microsoft. Okay, it's not Xbox; it's Microsoft.
Yes.
So they're going to be dealing with more Microsoft products. They're not using their old POS, which is point of sale Okay, they're not using that software anymore. Now they've migrated to Xbox's software for their POS. So they're going to have a lot more information at their hand. They can walk up to you like a Apple store or a Microsoft store and be able to have a PDA with them or a tablet or something to go over and discuss things with you. So now they're doing a little bit more techie stuff. Okay. Isn't GameStop, yes, GameStop also going and selling PC products, right? You can get a graphics card, you can get a power supply. Okay. So it looks like this is what's going on. It's geared for more gaming, but a little bit more on the tech side. So these employees are not just going to be fanboys. They're going to be a little bit more knowledgeable to help everybody versus some of that narrative of pushing one console or another, so this way they can produce a little bit better and get money to come in. You want that money flow to come in, because why would I, as an Xbox fan, want to come in and say, hey, I'm here to order the Mortal Kombat 11 collector's edition for my Xbox? Are you sure you don't want that for PlayStation? What did I say? For my Xbox, right? You get that thing where I don't want to go back in there again. You know what I mean? When they look down at you like that, you don't want to go back in there. Hopefully with this retraining, because now it's technology, it's not one or the other. Hopefully at this point in time, now they can actually help you out. And, if you're looking for a graphics card, they could sell you that too for your PC that you're going to be playing your Xbox games on, because that's what it is. That's fine. It opens it up to give them more of a broad thing versus a niche of, hey, I'm going to have some Batman statues and a couple Harley Quinn statues. And, now we're gaming and comic and pop art. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The way that they went kind of didn't go with gaming, but it went with the nerd culture. See, so, and I think Microsoft's trying to take it back from the nerd culture and bring it into more of a mass appeal for anybody to go in there. Because some people would just go in there like, I came here for games. What the hell is this? I don't do comic books. I don't know what this is. Why is this here? Why is it taking up space? How come I don't have cartridges or the disc cases up along the wall now? It's been moved out for t-shirts. So some people are feeling jaded. And with this, maybe it'll open up to welcome everybody, not just a specific gamer or a what I say before,
niche.
Niche, like a pop culture nerd that nobody else knows about this anime, but that one person in that whole state. You know what I'm saying? Granted, I'm over exaggerating, but they're bringing in stuff that may not sell to everybody because it's so niche to a certain group of people. Anime is huge, but is it huge to all gamers? No. There's a lot of guys that play Call of Duty that are like, what is this? Why do I have to see this? I just want my Call of Duty. I want to go in, buy it, and get out. I don't need to, go through here and see a Deadpool gun, Nerf gun, on the side there. So I think they're trying to bring it up to not just a toy store. It's a game store. It's a technology store.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to say this, and Joe, I'm going to go to you next on this, because you are not only, you have your. I want you to put on your hat for, being marketing. Put on your marketing hat. Look, a lot of people don't know this.
This thing I got to a hat is this goat I got for my birthday. Continue.
Well, you know what? Listen, it's a good hat. Good look on you, brother. Definitely good look on you. Here's the thing. A lot of people don't know this. Reggie Fils-Aimé, the gentleman that was the head of Nintendo for the United States, retired.
He's an advisor.
He is on the advisory board. As a matter of fact, he has a pretty hefty role on the advisory board for GameStop. When he jumped on there, the stock prices went up and they continued to rise. And I know this because my brother, Neil Mental, owns stock in GameStop. And, obviously Reggie is very good friends with Phil Spencer. And again, this is getting really into the weeds, so I don't know if they even had a conversation regarding this, but I can tell you that from from a marketing perspective, looking at what Microsoft is looking to do going into the next generation is very different from the generation that we are currently in. I think, Joe, you would agree with that.
Right.
But I think one of the biggest points that people overlook is the program that Microsoft is they're the only company doing this, the gaming company doing this in the Xbox All Access program. Now, we know that you can do that on Amazon, you can do it at Best Buy, you can do it at Target, you can do it at Walmart, but you can also do it and subscribe to that or sign up for it at GameStop. This is this partnership is going to put this at the forefront of what Microsoft wants to do. Not only are they going to be in your face when you walk into the store, but that all access program banners are going to be right there when you walk in, and it's going to show $35 per month for the Series X, $25 per month. And that is potentially going to get people. And I said this before, and folks laughed at me. This generation is going to be the biggest console generation leap in 2 console homes in the history of gaming. And I really mean that, because of a $300 console, Microsoft is opening the door to get new fans, as well as fans that might have left during the 360 to go to the PS4 to come back and still allow them to be PlayStation 5 owners. Joe, what do you think of this deal? I mean, how big of this could this be for both companies?
It could be big. It probably isn't. GameStop's in a very bad place right now.
Yes, they are.
Nobody wants to buy them. They're at this point where they need to. They're trying to reinvest. Isn't even a good word. They're trying to pivot into what they're. And now there's being in the bathroom. Oh, this is gonna break my concentration. I'm gonna try my best here. But they're trying to pivot their role somewhere in the gaming industry that they can remain solvent. Most of the changes GameStop's already had, but they've had shittier systems in place. So pretty much, yeah, they've changed their POS. It's pretty much like Xbox is giving them Microsoft word. It's giving them Microsoft business for the most part. And then when it comes to like giving them tablets, they've already had that. Every GameStop has like an iPad there. Now it's going to be probably like a Surface Pro. It speaks to a larger issue GameStop has, which is my GameStop's one of the busiest GameStops in the tri-state area. They barely ever have 2 people in that store. GameStop is dying.
Yeah,
just straight up.
It is. It's the truth. I mean, you definitely see the change for sure, but
it's dunzos, and they're trying their hardest to try to change that. Now, how GameStop usually works is they have a general store plan of where they plot their advertising or their store layout. Usually, it's a store by store basis. So if you see a mostly PlayStation store or a PlayStation wall, that is because that general area is mostly for PlayStation folks. Like mostly PlayStation people work there. There's GameStops that have like mostly like a Xbox wall, and that's because again, most customers there it's an Xbox ecosystem there. What this really means is it dictates a couple of things. It means no matter what, there's going to be a section for Microsoft, and it's going to be at a certain amount, and it's going to be placed strategically in every GameStop. That's the big thing here. That's the biggest change. So like, what I'm really thinking is when you open the doors and walk in, instead of being like in my GameStop, you're greeted by Nintendo stuff, you're greeted by Xbox stuff. Instead of seeing the gondolas, you're going to see xCloud stations. The biggest change here, the only massive one that I think people are going to see, I'll read it out here, is that GameStop has expanded its Xbox family of product offerings to include Xbox All Access, which provides an Xbox console for 24 months of Game Pass Ultimate to players with no upfront costs. GameStop and Microsoft will both benefit from the consumer acquisition and lifetime revenue value of each gamer brought into the Xbox ecosystem. So now they're going to prioritize Xbox, and that's the biggest thing.
Yes.
Is now GameStop has an incentive, but it's a weird incentive, because if you're pushing Game Pass, which this is pretty much what it means, any game Microsoft product, GameStop's going to get a bigger chunk of revenue from, so they're incentivized to sell that bit of revenue.
Yes.
Or to sell that item.
Yeah.
So they're incentivized to get people into all access. It's kind of like saying, hey, would you like to buy our coffin? Because here it is. Like, all access is like Game Pass and Xbox. That's awesome. And it's probably, with the systems in place, it's going to be a lot more streamlined than they already have. So it's going to make it easier for people to buy Game Pass, buy all access, buy Microsoft products. It's going to make that more streamlined for people to get them in and out of the door as fast as they can. It's also weird for GameStop because, again, like, Game Pass is going to kill you. and so to see that is not to say it's a bad move. It's a great move if you're Microsoft, but GameStop, I'm just wondering to myself, what are they getting out of it? Because, like, to me, none of this, like, you're still going to get dumb employees there. And I hate to use the broad brush, but, like, you're still going to get, like, my buddy came in, he wanted an Xbox controller, and then they were just like, Xbox controller, like, really that to him. He's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm just going to shop at Best Buy. Like, you're still going to get those type of people. You're going to still get people. Look, how bad GameStop's hiring process is. When I used to work there, my store manager was going to hire someone just based on the fact that they wore a business attire to the interview. Like, this doesn't change the broader issue of the people that are in charge of these things maybe shouldn't be. There's a lot of issues that GameStop has that I don't think this thing could solve it all for them. But if you're Microsoft, this is a great idea because, again, you're going to get xCloud stations. You're going to get a Xbox first mentality, and you're going to get, hopefully, an easier process onboarding people from the brick and mortar over to Game Pass. I don't see this as the biggest thing in the world, but what I do see this is a nice step for Microsoft really trying to find any which way that they can find an advantage to pivot them to. I think this is more of an option for GameStop that buys them time as they try to pivot somewhere, because I think, Dreadpool, you hit it out of the park. When you walk into a GameStop now, it's like there's a Funko Pop wall and mug wall, like socks, and it's just doesn't. It's all so weird. It's like, where are the game portions? It's like statues that are out of the box. I don't want those statues. They're out of the box. You got fingerprints on them. Don't want them. So
headphones, razor, and like sections and stuff like that. It's like weird.
It's just weird.
You're gonna see a change, Joe. And again, I have it on good authority that the change is coming.
Weren't they supposed to change it before, though? It was supposed to have like a gamer section in general. Like, it was supposed to be monitors everywhere. They've been like changes coming. That's been their attitude for the past 3 years. They keep pivoting to one thing. That thing doesn't work out. They go to another thing. Yeah.
And then they'll create test stores to see what kind of hits.
Basically this. But, well, you know what, Joe, you're onto something here, because I think that it's safe to assume, or even say, not even assume, just come out and say it, that GameStop in the last couple of years have been basically just throwing things at the wall, and whatever stuck is what they were going with. And that's not how you run a successful business. You need to have a
seems
plan.
like the stickiest solution for them. This seems like the one that makes the most, makes the most sense, because, again, like, selling Game Pass is this. I don't know if you're, and I'm not saying, it's like you're selling them. It's like you're inviting them to your funeral. So, like, but I think it's the one that is guaranteeing them the most money right now, so that they can keep throwing other things on the wall. Because the Funko Pop craze is dying down and whatnot.
They're working working on though, Joe. Like for example, remember how like they already did it for the pre-orders, the $800 editions where they were selling all the stuff. I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be something they'll try to tackle along with the console purchase.
Yeah, they buy this extra controller, get this, get get a memory card, get whatever to it. Yeah,
we'll give you a deal on the expansion card. We'll probably throw a headset. We'll with an extra cost of this. That's probably the spin to get it out.
No, absolutely. Big Cloud, being that you're here, let's go to you. But I want to read to you the direct quote from head of Xbox, Phil Spencer. This is what he had to say regarding this deal. He says, for many years, GameStop has been a strong go-to market partner for our gaming products, and we are excited about continuing and evolving that relationship for the launch of the Xbox Series X and S. GameStop's extensive store base, focus on digital transformation in an omni-channel environment, as well as expert gaming associates. I don't know about that, but whatever.
Okay.
Remain an important part of our gaming ecosystem, and we're pleased to elevate our partnership. Now, I will say this. I go to the GameStop here in New Rochelle. It's in an area they call New Rock City. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, I will say this about my GameStop. Every employee there is amazing. They're all gamers. They're all nerds just like me. They collect statues and pop, and they're always wearing a cool t-shirt when you go in there. That is the kind of that I enjoy. That's again, folks. I can't say that for everyone. I can't say that everyone has that experience.
Rare in some cases.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Tired. They look like they don't want to be there.
Yes,
others legit like they love their job. They want to do this. They want to have fun.
Yeah.
There is always a mixed bag with different people.
Yeah, absolutely. So my question to you is, listen, I'm very happy to have two PlayStation-centric gamers, friends, brothers on this particular panel, because I really kind of want you to tackle this from a PlayStation mentality. Now, we know Microsoft was beat over the head by Sony's marketing this generation. There's no even arguing the point. It is what it is. But the marketing push that Microsoft has been doing has been a complete 180. And this is another step, at least in my opinion, in the right direction to get people to know about Xbox. If they design the stores like it was explained to me in the email, this is going to be eye-catching when you walk into the store. Yep. Usually when you walk into a store and there's blazing screens and consoles on display working and advertisement that says 25, 35, 200 games, EA Play, all of the bells and whistles that are going to come with buying one of these consoles, I think they have a good shot on being in an excellent position. I'm not saying they're going to roll over Sony, but they're certainly going to be more competitive.
Yeah. It's aggressive marketing, much needed aggressive marketing on their part. This is going to guarantee that for a fact that they have their consoles in, and you'll see it first. Now, granted, they can also spin this, boom. So, for example, like when we get into these custom edition consoles, they can have all that stuff immediately there, the first thing you see. So even if those who are not really like news savvy on the stuff, they see this and that can sell it as well. So it's cool for them. And honestly, with GameStop signing this type of deal with Microsoft, honestly, I have no problem with this, because if it wasn't for the consoles right now, GameStop probably would be legit like in trouble right now, because let's face it, GameStop has become very irrelevant to a lot of us.
Sure.
Not everybody goes to GameStop. We mostly go to Walmart. We'll go to Target. We go to any other retailer. And as you guys clearly can see with the hassle with the pre-orders, it would have been a travesty if we lost GameStop in the long run, because that's less of an option, and a less of a chance for you to get your hands on a console if they would have left the business. So it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's Microsoft needs to get a better foothold with advertising. They need to sell the consoles. They need to sell the service, which they're looking to do. It is a big part of their next generation plan. GameStop, 5,000 plus stores worldwide, specifically very big in this country. Again, I think it's safe to admit that GameStop needed this more than Microsoft did, for sure.
Really did, man. Man, when I tell you, like, Walmart was killing them in the used game space and still kind of is, it's crazy.
Yeah,
they're giving you much more trading for
yeah,
users.
you do get more money. You definitely get more money there. I hate to say this, even Best Buy gives more, and they're cheap bastards too.
Really getting on the trend too.
Yeah,
and the
no doubt.
when is GameStop going?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Crispy, I want to grab your opinion on this, and I saved you last because I know that you're going to have the most to say regarding. But let me read you Jim Bell, who is the GameStop chief financial officer. This is what he had to say after Phil's comment. We believe Microsoft's integrated retail technology platform will enable the continued development of our frictionless omni-channel digital environment, providing customers with an exceptional cross-channel experience for all things gaming. Again, very corporate speak, but for you, seeing Microsoft be this aggressive, this early in on the generation, I mean, mind you, this changed these stores from the information that was provided to me, will be here mid-October, well before the launch of the console on the 10th of November. And it's going to be green, green, green. When you walk into the store, they're going to have the controllers, they're going to have the advertisement. I think this is a much bigger deal than a lot of people are giving Microsoft, or more specifically GameStop, credit for, especially because they have a roadmap to win this generation. I'm not saying they're going to. I'm saying they have a roadmap to win this generation. And I think having your wares up front in a store that specifically, listen, let me just stop for a second, folks. I see a lot of the hate that goes on for this store. You may not love it like me, but let's just think about this for a second, okay? Toys R Us, that has been around since I was up to my dad's knee, is no longer here, folks. Okay, it's here, it's back, it's 4 stores in America. Okay, that's it.
One in the Garden State Mall, and it's nuts.
Okay,
Wait, I remember the spinoff that it had. It was Babies R Us.
Babies R Us. I mean, these stores are gone. Okay, Toys R Us. I remember taking my nephew, my godsons, my goddaughters to Toys R Us, and it was an experience. It was an experience not only for the family, but for the kids. That's gone. That's been eradicated. That's why GameStop needs to exist, because you walk into the store, sure, there are T-shirts, sure, there's a Deadpool gun, and there's pops all over the place, but it's an experience.
It's for us. It's part of our hobby. It's kind of
exactly
like a safe haven when you kind of feel like I'm in my mode, or I'm in my my element. Remember EB Games? We rarely see games anymore. So I agree. It's like that. It just the reason why people look down on GameStop is just the way they treat gamers as a whole.
I agree that there's definitely a problem with the employee training, for sure.
Like, you see it as well, like even with management, like Badbit brought it up as well. Like, when you buy a console or a game, they'll recommend the other preferred console or something like that. It's like, listen, if you ask for Halo Infinite, or if you ask for Ratchet and Clank or something on whatever console, just let them buy the console. Like you always have these ones who look like buzzkills. They try to read the description of games, like all that. You know what I'm talking about? They give you that ratings. Like, do you really have to do that? Just give them the game, let them go.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
Fun fact: I was the best salesman at GameStop at a point.
That's not surprising.
I broke I broke GameStop history once, where I got 130% pre-orders in a single day. That never happened. And like having over like 100 transactions and whatnot. I was really good at selling stuff because I knew the product. People when I talk, right? People are like, you seem so passionate. I'm passionate about games. People see that. It rubs off. And a lot of it comes down to absolutely. There's a lot of people that work at GameStop aren't gamers. That's fine. But it's the knowledge of the product you're selling. Exactly. It's just simple. It's one of the simple things of being a salesman. Know what you're talking about, or at least give the illusion you know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
And you don't see that a lot there. Like, my one manager was there because he literally needed health insurance for his kid. Wow. He had no knowledge of video games.
Wow.
And he was just there because his kid had a heart condition. And so he relied on me to do the sales stuff. So GameStop has where GameStop's biggest issue is the disconnection between regional managers, district managers, and store managers. It's at least here in the tri-state, it's a weird type of competition of who can kiss the most ass. I don't know if that's changed much. It doesn't seem like
it hasn't changed. You can see it. Like I had a dude, the GameStop over here. He was a real dude. Like he'd been there for a year and a half, and he was so close to manager. But it was this one guy, Joe. This is one guy who was always by the register. He would just do the most to try. You know what I'm saying? Just literally the most. And I found out that he told on him because he was like one of his friends asked for him to hold a game for him, you know, so he can get it and get out there. He was going to pay for it, obviously. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, sure. He told him just to get the promotion. So it's kind of like a cutthroat mentality just to get that promotion with GameStop. And the way they hire people, it's like they put your names in this pile of misfortune. That's what they call it. They do all that stuff. Like they're literally, it's not the best place. I had people who work there say that they made them rethink video games. Like look at it in a different light. Not necessarily on the positive. It's like, yeah, I can see it. Like back in the day, the attitude, the overall energy with GameStop was so great. Like, I remember back when they were selling, I think it was Modern Warfare 3's little night vision goggles.
Yes,
I have that.
Remember the energy in the store? It's like you felt it everywhere. You were so happy to buy something.
Yeah,
you don't get that same vibe anymore, now, do you? You just go in there. It's like, hey, man, you got this game? No, okay, see you next week.
Yeah.
I've got one sales associate at the one that I go to. And she's not really a gamer. She knows little to anything, but you know what? She's actually helpful. She doesn't know everything. Like I forgot to even pre-order my Mortal Kombat 11 collector's edition. I completely forgot that, you know, and everything. So by the time I ran down there, they're already sold out. So she's like, you know what? Give me your number. I'll call you back if we have any more in stock because people will cancel it out and everything. She actually did that versus the other employee in front of her manager saying, oh, you know, the PlayStation version's much better. And I'm like, it's the same damn game. It's just I prefer it on Xbox. I asked for Xbox. Why are you telling me this? And I looked at him and I said, this is why I don't come in here. But when the other associate that knew nothing was willing to help me, and I looked at him, keep her. She's great. She is very customer service. She will keep you making money.
Dude, I've had one. So like, and store reps are a huge thing as well. When I used to work at GameStop, I remember there was one Sony rep. Yeah, I run a PlayStation podcast, not back in the day, but this was back like 6th generation. And I think that it came down to should I buy a Wii or should I buy a PlayStation Move? And I said something along the lines of like, you should buy a Wii because if you want the movement stuff, I don't know much of Move in terms of if they're going to support it on the long end. So I'd strongly recommend the Wii because that's what the whole basis of the console is. And I remember the Sony rep actually coming up to me going that they could have had me fired for saying that and having a whole ordeal between my manager, my district manager, and actually getting that lady practically fired. Because she was not allowed to say that to me whatsoever. And so that leads into the final bit, which is probably where this is going to be the most beneficial to GameStop, is now having hopefully reps be more in a communication with their stores in terms of questions that maybe the stores have for them. That would be an awesome way to have that type of communication between Xbox and GameStop so that you always feel like you have someone to turn to as a partner in all this. Again, this is good mostly for Microsoft. I don't see a lot of the benefits to GameStop in terms of your experience there. But in the long run, again, there's just so many problems with GameStop that are outside of just this. This is barely a Band-Aid for them. There's so much wrong in that company's structure. I hope for the best because like I don't want to see anybody lose their jobs because like the headquarters of Toys R Us actually literally 20 minutes away, and like when that went under, that town's economy just nosedived. So I don't want to ever see that happen, you know.
Well, hopefully not. But you know what, Crispy Bomb, what are your thoughts after hearing everyone break this down? Do you have any thoughts? Do you think this is going to be beneficial not only for Microsoft, because I believe that it's going to benefit Microsoft tremendously, but do you think that GameStop on the back end is going to see a resurgence of such?
I actually think this is a lot bigger than people are realizing.
Yeah, me too. I'm right there with you.
Microsoft closed their stores. A lot of people forget this.
Yes.
Maybe this is just them being them and being strategic and saying, well, we're definitely shifting towards a gamer centric type environment. I understand what Bad Bit is saying about the Game Pass thing, but you have to understand that from what we know and what we've been told and what even developers say, they're actually selling more games because of Game Pass. So we don't know what will actually happen when it comes to this. Microsoft has deep pockets. Microsoft has deep pockets, people. Like, this is just another, like, hey, we can do basically whatever we want. We're gonna, GameStop, you're dying. You're at $9 a share. You were at $2 almost at the beginning of the year.
Dude,
what I
exactly.
mean? Like, you know what? We can't let you die because you got 2,000 stores. We might have something with that.
You think they'll do it with the Walmart as well? Like have it shipped over? That type of possible?
It's possible. I mean, they are. Microsoft could do just whatever they want. I mean, it's crazy because like you think about how big of a company like Walmart is, but they can't even touch Microsoft. You know what I mean? Like, that would be like putting, with 2,000 stores, that's like saying, okay, we can invest in this technically smaller company with a huge footprint across the world, and we can invest a little bit of money to help them really change things. You're gonna see them probably go like more like a Best Buy type feel, because like when you walk into Best Buy, if you have questions, you usually got somebody jumping at you like, oh yeah, but they're trained to kind of just be there. They're not sitting there staring at you waiting. Like, you ever had that, like the guy just staring over the pillar or something, like, oh yeah, you need some help? They keep asking you and you're like, no, I don't need help. But when you go up to them, they're knowledgeable. And I think that's the problem that we find. And you guys are just saying it in general. Like, like Bad Bit, you sold a lot because you were knowledgeable. You know what I'm saying? Like, if one of us were working there, I'm sure we would sell a lot. And we would be, you have to be able to sell whatever product is fit for that person, not necessarily what you want, because that's the whole point. You want to sell products. And I think by having Microsoft, have this huge footprint in there, investing money, clearly they're investing money. I mean, we could sit here and say whatever you want, but this is a true partnership, and Microsoft is good at GameStop ain't paying for nothing. I'm telling you that right now. All the stuff that's going to be involved is all going to be Microsoft. And, it's just going to be beneficial for them to have a vision, a good look at what they should be doing. And I think they're going to use a lot of what they've learned in the Microsoft stores to help them, because, they might have closed them, but I think that had a lot to do with, the foot traffic for just Microsoft products just isn't quite there.
Yeah.
They have huge footprints in Best Buys and stuff, and they already had that when the stores were open. So these are things that can help GameStop, because as I said, I mean, when Satya is out there like waving the gaming flag and saying, yep, we're here, why not put, a lot of their products in a gaming store? And now with xCloud, a Surface or something being sold there technically can be for gaming. A lot of people don't understand like that. They're putting their hands in every cookie jar, and they don't care what partnerships they got to make. And they will help a 2,000 store company survive because they know that they can have that advertisement right in the forefront.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Real quick, I want to, before we move on to one of the I think one of the biggest topics of the show, I just want to catch up on some of these outstanding super chats that have come in, and thanks to Dreadpool for dropping them into these private chats so I can keep up, because with the chat flying the way it is, sometimes I miss them and I don't like doing that. And folks, listen, we have 700 people. We're up at 723. That's a lot of people for a Friday morning. If you are here, if you're new to this program, I say welcome with open arms. Consider subscribing to this channel. This is the kind of good talk that you're going to get. I do lots of live content, at least 3 live shows per week, potentially more. I've been averaging 4 and 5. I've been on a tear with the live content, and more is coming. The week of the launch for these consoles, it's going to be 5 consecutive days of live casts, but it may even be more shows. It could be potentially 6 and 7 shows in those 5 days. I'm going to be busy, and there's going to be a lot to listen to. So if you're new, consider subscribing. If you're already here and you are subscribed, listen, folks, let's hit that like button. It doesn't hurt. I don't charge 50 cents for each time you hit it, and it definitely does help me grow. The algorithm I've been put into a very weird algorithm where the channel has seen growth. That is because of the likes that are coming in. So if you are enjoying the conversation, please do me a favor and hit that like button before you get on out of here. But first, we'll start with JD Gamer, a very generous friend of the show. And as a matter of fact, he dropped quite a few super chats in here. JD, thank you for always being here, but it's for also always supporting this channel. He says this: if there was, he goes, there was a social experiment done a while back, and it proved that what people found attractive or desirable is what they were exposed to the most. And that's, of course, he's talking about going into a GameStop and seeing, that Xbox green all over the place. He drops another $5 super chat and says, by putting Xbox Series X up front and the X Series X shirts on every employee, you'll see more sales. And also, subsequently, want it more than a PlayStation 5. I mean, I don't think people are going to start burning their PlayStation 4s, but I do think that people are going to support 2 consoles, and Microsoft has given people the opportunity through Xbox All Access to go out and buy their $500 PlayStation 5 and be happy with it, but then say, you know what, for $25 or $35 a month, damn, I can get Xbox Game Pass, Xbox Live for 2 years, and Series X, and that means I could rock both consoles. I'm going to buy it. I think that's what you're going to see a lot of. We also have Black Eye Dog, a very generous friend of the show, drops a $5 super sticker. Thanks for that, as always. JD Gamer with another super chat. He says, Microsoft threw GameStop a bone / lifeline, and now they'll be selling the hell out of some Xboxes. Sony is in trouble, and people can't even see it yet. I mean, listen, I think that Microsoft is positioning themselves to be the dominant console to be sold next generation, but only time is going to tell. We have JC let's see if I can pronounce this last. Carmaro. Thanks so much for being here, brother. He drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says they're doing lease to own, also bad credit, bad for credit. Okay, bad for bad credit people. I don't think that's the case with these. I think that if you can provide that you can with a card that can be charged, I don't think they're doing credit checks because there's no APR.
Yeah, I think you need like a FICO score, like 600 to apply.
Yeah.
And I don't know nothing about finances, so that seems like a good number, right, guys?
Yeah, that seems okay for sure. JD Gamer drops an additional $5 super chat and says, and Microsoft is slowly but surely cutting off the sources for a Sony fandom, the games, the retailers. What's next? I think the only thing they have left to do is just show the games, and I think it's going to be a much different generation. And I think those things are coming. And JD Gamer drops another, wow, my goodness, dude, another $10 super chat and says, I'm sorry, Mr. Badbit. I think Microsoft and GameStop have effectively turned them into a cell phone model. And this will actually save GameStop as more and more gamers convert to the cell phone type model. It's certainly possible.
Certainly possible, but then if this is a cell phone model, then and it's just a question again, if it's a cell phone model, then are there consoles to upgrade to when that 24 months is up?
Who knows? That's a good point. Yeah, then that's actually a fantastic point. But listen, we're going to now talk about one of the bigger topics. And, many people in the gaming community, including myself, have been waiting for the teardown of the PlayStation 5, and that happened right in the beginning of this week, which was pretty interesting. And the way they brought, listen, we're gonna have a lot of opinions on this, because I'm gonna be honest with you. For me, I found it extremely interesting. I found it extremely interesting because of the way that they broke everything down. I mean, this guy, and I have his name here. Let me just get the presenter's name. Now, this was obviously a controlled event, very, very typical of Sony. It was for the Japanese audience. Thankfully, there were a bunch of sites that had the translation, so you were able to read it, which I watched it twice. And the presenter was Yoshiro Tori. Now, he is the vice president of the mechanical department and hardware design division at SIE. And this video lasted 7 minutes and 11 seconds. And again, tremendously interesting to me, the way that they broke it all the way down to its core. Not just like, hey, you could take off this. This is where the SSD goes, and we'll call it a day. No, they when they talk about a tear down, this is torn down in a way that I would never do, because I'm more of a caveman than a technical guru for sure. But one of the big takeaways for me was the way that heatsink was ridiculous. And I don't mean ridiculous in a bad way. I mean ridiculous in a good way, meaning it is going to dissipate the heat in a big way. That fan, tremendous. What I'm hoping for, and what we have heard from that Sunday event, was that this console is whisper quiet. Yep. And that's great. And that's great to know, because damn, my last PlayStation 4 Pro, it was so loud when God of War was running on it that it pulled me out of the experience. Thankfully, Mrs. Boom saw my frustration with it, and she surprised me with the God of War console, which I still have. I'm not getting rid of, and is, again, whisper quiet. I got lucky. But Mr. Badbit, I want to go to you first on this, if you don't mind.
Ooh, okay.
This was a teardown in a way that I don't think any of us expected. I think what we wanted was more of a breakdown, of what does it have VRS? Does it have, can you have 6 games saved, in the background, and then go switch through games like you can on the X? We didn't get that. I'm hoping that does come later on, that we get some more technical aspects as to what the PlayStation 5 can do, especially like, what does the OS look like?
Yeah,
we don't have any of that information yet. We will. This was a pretty impressive teardown. I'm interested to get what your takeaways from this was.
Well, first, and Big Cloud, I just sent you a link. PlayStation has revealed its backwards compatibility. There are only like 12 games that you cannot play from your PS4 and to your PS5. And if your game of the year was Hitman Go Definitive Edition, you're going to be pretty disappointed. You're be happy. Sing it. We sing.
The only thing that's a little iffy about it, remember they said select titles over here are boosted. And the last time we heard any number was like they said they tested 100 games and that was it. So I'm not sure how many games are going to be tested, but that's the only question mark. How many games have been boosted? But yeah,
I would assume, but it is Sony.
Yeah.
Whatever is part of that PlayStation Plus collection is boost mode, and
that's all that first party stuff. And
I
that's
think
that's what you would want.
Hits. I'm talking about. Remember the greatest hits collection? I think that too falls in the line with this as well. Maybe those will get in there.
Yeah. So let's talk about the screwdriver debacle that was the PlayStation 5 event. For me, this is, I was having an interesting conversation with the real son of a bitch that is Luke Lore, talking about the size of this console. And, I love him. He's a good guy. I like this event a lot. It wasn't an Austin Evans, like, kick-ass thing. This is, boom, you nailed it. This is a Sony thing. Like, this is a PlayStation thing. Yeah. It screams that awkward PlayStation bit. And to me, I said it on the podcast, it's always interesting because oftentimes so many things are catered to the American audience. We don't really tend to realize it until it's not. And so, like, watching this event, I'm like, oh, this is not for me. I gotta read. What is this? But yeah, I like seeing that the engineer himself is tearing apart this console And yeah, places like IGN, GameSpot, even PlayStation put out subtitled versions so you could read everything he's saying. But the teardown, for the most part, was really, really good. My biggest issue was, where am I going to put that SSD when I get it? And seeing it there and seeing the various sizes of SSD you could put in there, and I mean physical size of SSD, that's awesome. It's giving you a lot of choice. And that's the only bit I really cared truly about. The second bit is the cooling solution, which is, you hit it again there, boom. Awesome. It seemed like this console is what it pretty much was, a market tested console for the people that have been playing PlayStation. What are your biggest woes about the PlayStation 4? It's loud and it's hot. And so seeing them go, you know what? We're going to make a large ass console to make sure that this thing could dissipate heat effectively. We're going to start, partnering or using, liquid metal cooling. Like, this is like Terminator 2 style shit, to make sure this console's running at an acceptable heat level. That's awesome. So it does also lend to the fact that these Japanese YouTubers that got their hands on it a week back went, yeah, we didn't even know this thing was on. And that is what I want out of my gaming console.
Yes, I agree. 100%.
So for me, hearing both really great things about how quiet both of these consoles are running, both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, is the thing that gets me the most hyped for this next generation. Because, to me, it's about being able to load in my game super fast and making sure that I don't always have to use headphones when I'm playing games, because my PlayStation 5 is just about to take off. So it did everything for me. Big Cloud, I can't wait for you. But when it comes to the stand and the screw, and like, that was what people were like upset about or concerned about. It's like, yeah, of course you want to make sure if it's on a base that it's not going to wobble off. That's why you can't there's two reasons why you can't take off the bottom base on that Xbox Series X. It's because that base is allowing air to get sucked in and then pushed out the top. And so like for the PlayStation 5, it's, you want stability so the thing doesn't slide off. So for me, the only problem I did have with it is having to use the stand when you're laying it down. That's a little weird. But other than that, this was awesome for me as a PlayStation gamer. Finally getting more information about this console that we're going to be buying in a few weeks. Yeah, that gets me pumped.
Absolutely. And again, a lot of the technical stuff we'll get, I'm assuming. This was a big breakdown. I think that the highlight is the quietness. I think that one of the biggest concerns were, are we going to get another PlayStation's Pro, kind of a situation where it just really pulled you out of the game. Now, I've said this before, and folks, this isn't a joke. This console is large. I mean, it is, wow, it is incredibly large. Now, I don't hate it for it being large. I just needed to go out and buy a new piece of furniture, which I've done. It's on back order. Hopefully it gets here before the new consoles release so I can set it up, because my current setup, and I've taken hundreds of pictures. Everyone knows on Twitter what my setup looks like. It's just not going to fit the PlayStation 5. It's just not. It's just not
floor, which
set up. So I have to get a new one. That is my only complaint. It is rather large. But Big Cloud, I want you to touch on your thoughts on this. I know that you got a little bit of slack from some people because you were a bit honest with your opinion. I think that honesty is the best policy. Why don't you talk about that for a second and give us your thoughts on how your thoughts were with this breakdown?
All right. So, first of all, it was controlled, the whole thing. They all had masks in their thumbnail. They were all kind of like doing the goofy pose with the controller. When it got into the actual showcase of the games, this is the best part about it to me personally. And I'm surprised a lot of people just put all their attention on a screw and a screwdriver, but they missed the insane improvements. Godfall, like, I don't know if Joe saw it. The dude died during game. It loaded in 1.5 seconds. It came right back to square one. That's how fast the game was. It was insane. It was back to like instantaneous. There was no waiting time at all for that, and I love that. But the other thing that was cool about it, again, going back to this teardown, I have done so many videos. You guys know I do this on Twitter. You guys seen it, One particular thing I talked about and I put a lot of stake into was liquid metal cooling. Reason why I said liquid metal cooling, you guys remember there was issues Sony was facing for a cooling solution. They needed something that was good to keep the system quiet. Liquid metal is something they opted for because it has 40% higher yields in terms of performance, but also it's more efficient than standard thermal paste. That's what they want for this. They built a custom chamber for this as a solution. And that's why you guys see it. It won't spill out. That's why when you saw him move the board, you saw
it's closed. It's closed in.
Closed fixed thing that's perfectly for it. No issue. And for those you saying, well, what happens? Does the liquid, turn into a solid? No, it does not. It's legit straight liquid. It's just thermal paste, so special thermal paste. But looking at that towards the huge heat sink, all the way down to the fans, everything, and even them pretty much announcing and confirming that the PS5 will accept the newer SSDs with even the heat sinks on them, because that's more the higher end SSDs. Those have heat sinks, and a lot of us were kind of like going, well, can this system even handle those? You're now seeing it. They can accept those sizes and all that in general. But it was cool. I like the actual build quality of this. It was cool. I love the inclusion of the stand. You guys remember with PS4, we saw it with the stand first, and ironically, you had to spend $20 or $30 extra just to get the stand. So now you're gonna get included with the system. So that's cool. It clamps in to make it, to lay it horizontal and all that jazz. So that's fine. My only criticism about this, though, is the fact that we didn't really get any showcase for the UI or nothing like that. The guys who went in there and tested it out, the only thing they pretty much were looking at was just the games already kind of like, like set up and ready to go, like you can play. They couldn't necessarily go to the UI. You couldn't see that. Now, that's one thing Microsoft got right with Austin Evans. They hit like a 2-for-1. You guys remember that video? Yeah. He not only broke it down, he dissected it, but he also showed you what? UI, and he showed you Minecraft, at least something like that running on it, or the loading times, jumping into games. He showed that. That's the only thing that we did not see from PlayStation. That's like my biggest gripe from there. Other than that, it was like, it was fine. Some of these games, though, like Sackboy, I don't really care for it.
I'm getting it. I'm a platform dude, so I'm gonna get it.
Dude, do you see the Jin Sakai Sackboy suit, and you're not gonna hop on that?
I am good, sir. You can take that. I am good. But these games were like, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing something a little more demanding run on the system. But again, they confirmed after like an hour, it's whisper quiet still. That's awesome. That's awesome. PS4 after 30 minutes, it feels like, especially when you're running Ghost of Tsushima, that damn thing's about to take
loud.
Off.
It's loud. Yeah, it is definitely loud. That's very loud. Again, if you are a PlayStation gamer, and I think everyone here is, or at least most of us are, that's a big deal. Because I don't want to hear the console. I want to forget that it exists. I just want to hold the controller and be enveloped in the story that's being told that I am playing. I don't want to hear boo. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear that. I'm glad to know.
I get like this thing that's about to just take the hell off, bro. I'm like LaGuardia playing Ghost of Tsushima. I'm tired of it.
Exactly. You load one cutscene, Joe, and you just hear. I'm like, what is going on with this system? You see it, but. It's crazy. I'm glad that's behind this. They legit looked into that and they fixed it.
If I could say just two quick things. Sure. There was a video that Tim Geddes from Kinda Funny posted. He was just like, all right, wonder what this noise is. And he's in his room and you just hear, he opens and you see he's on the other side of the room. He opens the door, walks to his living room, just hear this thing going. Oof. He's like, it's that. That's how loud this goddamn console is for some folks. Yep. It's literally, you could hear it from across your damn house. And also, Dreadpool, I hate Twitter because I'm pretty sure that I've been following you and it automatically unfollowed you for some reason. My apologies on that. I was shocked when I saw that. Yeah.
I was shocked too. I was like, man, I thought he actually liked me.
When I saw your comment, I went like, and then I realized the camera was on.
That's funny. That's right.
Add to the build quality as well. Cause keep in mind, the stock PS4, the Xbox One, and all that, they were running on just basic, clocked, parts, right?
Yeah.
We're rocking high end clocked. You know what I'm saying? It's overclocked hardwares now. And for them to get that whisper quiet,
I love it.
That heat sink, and they're still giving you the performance. They're giving you the load times. They're giving you all that, and it's all in that perfect box.
Yeah.
I'm fine with.
Absolutely. And again, I still think that with the fact that we're paying $500 for these consoles is unbelievable. I will say that because you cannot even touch a PC, Master Race PC for anything. What you're getting in these boxes, you're just not going to be. And because you would have
waited for the 30 series, you would have been paying $700. I'm telling you.
There you go. And that's the low end of that. You can go crazy and spend $1,500 if you want.
Yes.
On the 3090, which is wow. No, thank you. I don't have rich bones like that. But Dreadpool, I'm interested to know. I mean, obviously, I don't know if you're on board for a PlayStation 5 initially. But did this breakdown? Is this something you thought was necessary? Did you like the way Sony handled it?
Like we already said, it's a typical Sony breakdown. Just a FYI, Mads Gaming had a breakdown on how to silence your loud PlayStation 4. Just take the cover off and it silences it. So it's because it's sucking way too much air, and that's why it's making that noise for most people. However, back onto the PlayStation 5, the breakdown, which I don't know why. I don't know if it's a fanboy thing or some people just got confused because they're not really technical and they're thinking that they're heavy-handed, that they're just walking around with a sledgehammer in each hand and whatever they touch, they're going to break. When you're talking about taking off the flaps and going there and they're like, how do I get to the memory card, for the expansion? And they showed you how to take it. Well, it's a flap and a screw. That's it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But they showed you how to take the top off first. Then they flipped it around, showed you how to take the bottom off first. They showed you before that how to take off the base. It had nothing to do with anything about accessing it. So it's like, I don't know if they were just being funny or picking at it or serious, because we all know there are some people that literally would be like, okay, what's the first step I have to do? Unplug your console. What? It's like, they take it and they twist it so much, and sometimes you don't know if it's just because they're ignorant or if they're really truly being funny. I mean, you could pick the ones that are truly being funny at times, but there are some that you just don't know what's going on in their brains. And when you look at it, it's really not that bad. You flip it upside down, you take a flap off, you take one screw out. The only issue that I see would be those people doing all that and then trying to set the set screw for the NVMe to put it down in there and not lose that set screw inside the enclosure that it's going to sit in. But other than that, it was a nice little breakdown on how to tear everything apart. You already saw people trolling about, do not open up your console or otherwise it'll void your warranty. It's like, yes, do not.
Yeah, what he did would void your warranty, but there's no reason to do what he did.
Right. Yeah. He gets to the point where he's just like, don't do this. Like when he's opening up the black case to reveal, the motherboard, and he's just like, don't do this.
He peels off a security sticker from one of the screws. That is beyond the point from where you're supposed to be. The only thing you're supposed to do is move that base or take off the flap and the screw for the NVMe. Other than that, you'd never have to touch it. Didn't we already discuss about this when people were putting bigger hard drives in the PlayStation 4?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're putting SSDs, the SATA 3 version in the PS4. Why is it such a big deal now? You know what I'm saying?
This is even easier. This is just basically like putting a card in. So.
It's the same thing. Take off the case, take out a screw, and there you go. You have access. I agree. Part of it is not just the fanboys. It's the ignorance behind their comments. Whether or not they're a fanboy, some of them truly are a fan of PlayStation, and they're afraid of it. They're like, I got to do all this. I don't think so. And that's the mentality that we're passing along to others to have that negative feel about it. It's going to be a good console regardless of what side you play on. It doesn't matter. If you want to do this, you can do this. Now, I also had an issue, and I'm going to go back to the Xbox. I also had an issue with, why do we have to have this card the way it is? And then it dawned on me, for simplicity, because we have idiots out there that do not know how to do stuff like
Yep.
this, and they made it simple. So is it going to cost more? Yes. That's and then you have an idiot burning himself on the heat sink, which is on the memory card. It's like, you're not going to open up a PlayStation 5 and pull out your memory card after you're done playing. I mean, I have an external one with the casing. With the casing is my heat sink to it. Okay, I actually have it hanging off the cord, so it has airflow from all directions to keep it cool. And that's on my current Xbox One X. You know what I'm saying? That's an external one, specifically designed on a PCIe Gen 3, not a Gen 4. And people will try to do all that because they won't pay attention. They'll be like, why is this not working? This is piece of... No, pay attention to what you're buying. It's just a lot of people that are not looking and listening to the correct people that are talking.
I agree, man. Honestly, I'm surprised you ain't touched on the gold mine they're about to make. Joe, Sony's about to make a killing with these third-party companies, custom shells for the
I was getting there. Yeah.
Oh, dude, custom shells they're about to make.
We talked about this earlier in the private before we started, between what was it, the dip?
Yeah, hydro dipped themed control consoles they can see in the future.
The vinyl wrapping, they can have custom paints, because it is whites. You can custom paint anything you want on there, airbrushing, just everything that you can do. And on top of that, when you do a custom console, the rest of the console is the same. You just replace the outside boards or the flaps, and you're done. There's your custom console. You don't have to have a see-through blue console that you have to pay for the manufacturing of this, and then hopefully you sell all those units, which they will,
own and have it ready to go.
Yeah, I think Sony's going to take advantage of that. It makes sense. It's certainly going to cut costs, and you're still going to be able to celebrate a game if you want a custom console.
Yep. That'd be cool.
It gives me those memories of the 360
with the faceplates.
The faceplates.
Yeah,
I remember that. I loved them. I changed it on a weekly basis. It was crazy what I did.
I had.
Who had the blue fire one for the 360?
I did.
That was the one.
I did. I had, dude. I had them all. I changed them. I even had the one that I wound up getting that looked like the wood grain. The old 70s one. Crispy Bomb, let's get your opinion out of here. And then, of course, we're hitting the 2-hour mark right now. And we'll get everybody out of here. And I'll just read these last super chats that have come in, because this obviously community has been tremendously generous. For you, Crispy, was this what you were looking for in regards to a breakdown, or do you feel that they just missed the mark?
This is Sony doing the same thing, old ways continue. It's a YouTube age. It's a social media age. I think they should have given this console to more people, like Digital Foundry, Austin Evans.
That was my biggest gripe. Yeah, I agree.
Not just one person who's actually, I think he did the PlayStation 4 breakdown.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. I'm a little off put. Yeah. You got to take off panels. It's cool for the customization. I would have rather had like a couple screws there instead of all of those plastic clips, because I feel like somebody's going to be heavy handed. I'm just saying. And, the way he bent the corner up, it was a little concerning. Like, what if you do this a little bit wrong? You might break something. And, I asked a simple question. I'm like, if you break something or something like that, just getting to the SSD, is that within warranty? Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, these are questions that are worth asking, because, like a little kid ain't going to know how to do this. It's going to have to be the parent. So what if the kid sees something on YouTube and it's like, oh, I can do this, and then he breaks it? I mean, it's just little things that, I was thinking of. The screw thing is stupid. I mean, I would rather have screws, to be honest with you, because I think it's a solid piece of metal, and, you might lose it, but you ain't going to break it. And I'm sure it's easy to replace. It's just a screw, so I like certain things. I think this thing is just it's so big for nothing. It feels like I'm looking at the Xbox One
Crispy
again.
wants to burn his hands with those SD cards. I see you, Crispy. You want to
Yeah.
burn your hand?
Burn my hands with the SD card.
Burn your hand with a card in the back of your console. I see you.
Nice.
I'm trying to be branded by Xbox. There you go.
Exactly. Burn it to your palm. You put it in the back of your system. You're like,
Yeah,
it's so cool. It's hot.
It's hot. Oh, really? Oh, it's inside the console. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. It's good that your SSD is easily upgraded. It's from what I see. The only thing is why do we go from a door way back when to taking a panel off to taking an entire side of the console off? It just seems a little odd to me. Like ease of use for some people, especially when they're buying a console. It's kind of there. I'm a little off on it. Like it's like, yeah, great. We saw it. Like it looks like they finally addressed a lot of cooling issues, stuff like that. You could see the reason for the design of it, because it needs airflow through both sides. The fan being, basically that thick, not necessarily any larger than the PlayStation 4s, but actually thicker, so it goes across both sides. That's interesting. I've never seen a design like that, so it looks like they're innovative, but I think it's a little over engineered, man. It doesn't sit right with me that people are trashing on what Xbox is doing, and you know what I mean. Like I'm sorry, like the Series X looks great in my opinion. Like it seems like it's well thought out. And I feel like PlayStation's just like, okay, this isn't working. We got to go here and we got to go here. And I feel like they're almost kind of rushed through it because it doesn't seem like they were thinking about, the size of it or anything like that, which is fine. Most people won't care, but some people might.
I think I think both of them designed PCs. One of them chose one path over the other. So the way the Xbox Series X has been designed gives it to its different heat distribution. So I talk about this a lot, but like that design is based off of PC designs back with like one of the Mac towers where it was a giant cube and it hovering above this large piece of plastic. And what it was doing was because it was distributed, it was such a heated rig, it was sucking air from the bottom and then pushing it all out, where PlayStation has done something different, where I think they have something that is more of a standard PC that we see today, where it's this one large motherboard, all the components there, and then having this large heat sink with this liquid metal cooling solution, kind of just dissipating that heat. So I don't think they thought size was a huge factor in terms of like, are people going to buy this or not? I think they knew that the size was for what they were building, this was the size that was going to make the most sense for them. But I think the one thing is that these consoles are made to be standing vertically. They both look awkward when they're horizontally.
Yeah.
And that is really because I think the way that they're showing you is the way that you're going to get the most effective heat distribution from those consoles. So, I don't think it's overly engineered. I actually think it's kind of just simple. Let's build a PC.
Yeah. I mean, listen, again, all I care about is it doesn't overheat and it stays quiet. And it looks like they've solved both of those problems, which is a big deal. And again, I'm assuming, again, I don't want to sound like an ass here, but I'm assuming that they will be giving us a more technical breakdown of what the console can do potentially next week, the week after. As we get closer, I would imagine that all these secrets or the cards up the sleeves are going to be revealed for both console manufacturers, and it's going to be a fun time for sure. But let me just get these last super chats and we'll get everyone out of here as we
fun fact though, Boom, forgot
yes, sir.
to mention this, that little SSD slot, that's for expandable storage. The actual SSD is on the board.
Yes,
So
it is actually on the board. That's the expand. That's correct. That is the expandable one. Someone actually, I think someone wrote a super chat in here. It's going to be interesting. We have Eagles fan 76 drops an outstanding additional $5 super chat. Says, I think Slow-Mo's business plan is going to take off, finding and installing extended memory for the PlayStation 5 for the average consumer. Besides the size of it, Pixelbit G drops a $2 super chat and says, was it me or was the console on the table? He says, was it me or was the console the table not on? If you're talking about the one on Sunday, I don't know. I thought that the PlayStation is supposed to be blue when it's on. I didn't see the light on some of it. I don't know if that's maybe they shut the light off. Maybe I don't know. I couldn't say.
Because of the CG pictures, it's made to look that these lights are super bright. So what it really is the lights are on the side panel so that it doesn't really take your eyes off of what you're playing when you're looking at it, when you see this strange light to the side of you. So it's blue when it powers on. From what I understand from what some of the write-ups are, is it's then a faint white when it's just on, and then it is yellow when it is in standby.
Okay.
Don't forget, studio lights also bleed out a lot of stuff. That's why a lot of actors and actresses wear makeup and powder on their faces to keep the shine off. So you will be bleed out. When I was an actor, they said when you put enough makeup on and you think you have enough, it's not enough. Put more on.
Interesting. Eagles fan 76 drops an additional $5, which I said this feels like 2013 reverse. Sony over-engineered the console with that size of the box for cooling this time. Even the packaging is the biggest. Yeah, I can only imagine what that box is going to look like.
That comment, but it's better to be safe than sorry.
Me too. I agree. You definitely don't want overheating issues with your new console. So I don't care. I mean, like I said, I need a new piece of furniture anyway, so it works out. So whatever, that's fine.
Yeah, you don't want the 360 all over again.
No, you definitely don't want the red ring of death. Gerald Mack drops an outstanding $5, which says, do we know how safe or unsafe this liquid metal will be in our homes with the PlayStation 5? Well, I think being that it's sealed, I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Yeah, it's completely safe. It's a custom, legit, seal they have for it, the complete chamber for it, and the liquid does not go anywhere. It won't leak. It won't bust. It's legit safety, underneath everything with your system. The only way you can possibly damage that and leak the liquid metal is if you were a dope and you decided to take the entire system apart, take the heatsink off, and do something stupid like crack the seal and then let the liquid metal out. But honestly, it's not going to crack. It's going to be safely inside the console. It's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have any issues with that. Kay Asante shows his generosity once again with another outstanding $5, which is the only concern I have is that the M2 SSDs are very fragile. Even static on your hands can kill that drive if you're not careful. M2 drives need respect. I will be wearing the white gloves that Larry Herb sent me after our conversation to put that card in there. Pong by Atari Tim drops a very generous $3 super chat and says, new sub, great show, interesting topics, love it. Well, Pong by Atari Tim, welcome to the program, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your generosity, but more importantly, thank you for hanging out with us. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Pixelbit G, a very generous friend of the show, drops a $5 super chat and says this: Xbox solution is clearly more casual friendly and aren't going to get casuals upgrading. The custom shells are nice return to the 360 era. I like I said, I cannot wait to see. I cannot wait to see what Sony does, because like I said, I think that this time around with these plates, they can save money on manufacturing the custom consoles and simply release these packaging with the plates for your God of War, for your Horizon, Forbidden West, for your Uncharted 5, whatever they're going to use, you could logistically. And I like the fact that, let's say, for instance, if you want to mix and match colors, let's say, for instance, the God of War is red for the top one. And you want to keep the white one on from the original, or you want to change it with another panel you might have. The custom capabilities are endless. For me, at least. I'm very excited. And effing Nuisance drops the final super chat of the day at $5. Thank you for that, my friend. He says, love listening to all of your different opinions. Always food for thought. Respect to everyone. Well, thank you, sir. We definitely appreciate the compliment, and we definitely appreciate you listening. So let's get everyone out of here, and we'll start with BitCloud.
360 is kind of brought back in the sense too, right? With Xbox Series X.
Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Now you can take another console. Take your saves with you.
Yeah, no, I remember that being I bought one, but they weren't $220 when they first came out. I think it might have been $40, but it is what it is. You know, technology is expensive. BitCloud, thanks so much for being here, brother. Missed you last week. Glad that you're back to give us your opinion. And you, my friend, not only have crossed 9,000 subs on your outstanding YouTube channel, you have a program this afternoon where you're going to be breaking down potentially what we talked about and even more incredible PlayStation news. Tell everyone about where they can follow you on social media, but more importantly, where could people subscribe to your outstanding and growing 10K Here We Come YouTube channel?
Oh man, it's been one hell of a year. I'm very excited for the future. Next gen consoles, obviously content, everything's gonna be even better. But yeah, it's gonna be great. Thank you for having me as always. Great show. Congrats to you on the insane milestones. I see you, brother. But like I said,
thank you, I appreciate it.
Those who wait and who are consistent, and you are definitely that guy. So congratulations to you. Joe, it's always a pleasure. Crispy Bomb, always a pleasure. Of course, Dreadpool, the quiet one, that's always a pleasure as well. But you guys can find me in RGT Podcast. I host that every Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, on my channel, BitCloud Gaming, which you can find on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about, including the dreaded Screwgate that happened after the PlayStation showcase. So we got to talk about that. But no, it's all good. It's definitely going to be fun to talk about. Thanks again for having me, and I'll see you guys next Friday.
Absolutely, brother. And Joe, Mr. Badbit, listen, brother, thank you so much for being here as always. Hopefully you get some rest, that you actually got some rest. You slept a little late today. Do me a favor, brother. Tell everyone about your recent upload episode of The Trophy Room, where you and your best friend break down everything PlayStation, and also where could people help push you past 2,000 followers on Twitter?
Well, you could find The Trophy Room over at Bad Bit Games on YouTube, at least the video version. You can find The Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast where me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest, the greatest in all things PlayStation each and every Thursday. This week, we do talk about Screwgate. Kyle absolutely loses his mind at it. It's fantastic to see my co-host go from sanity to insanity in zero flat. And yeah, no, you go check us out there. It was a fantastic show as always. You can find The Trophy Room on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Google Play, wherever you get your podcast services. You can find that show there. Been doing some awesome things. We have some awesome news coming. Hopefully next week, where we have some massive changes that some of y'all in this podcast know about that I'm very excited to share. And you can follow me over at Mr. Badbit over on Twitter, and PS Trophy Room on Twitter as well.
Well, thank you so much for being here as always, brother. Super appreciate that. And
thank you for having me. This show was amazing this week. As always,
this is a lot of fun. We got in all the topics. Everyone had fantastic points. It was a great conversation. I mean, that's what we want. We don't always have to agree, but I love the fact that we all have conversations that are fair and understandable, and there's no yelling, and that's what you kind of want out of these shows. And I'm glad to bring it each and every week. But Dreadpool, my brother, thanks so much for being here as always. Of course, we're lucky enough to take off from work last night, which is great. Hopefully you are feeling better, wink, wink. And more importantly, where could people not only follow you on social media, but also check out your outstanding and growing YouTube channel with your new program called Breaking Bread with Dread?
Oh, thank you. Oh yeah, I was supposed to. I don't feel good. So, but it's always a pleasure to be here with Badbit and Big Cloud and Crispy and yourself and everybody in the chat. It's always great to see everybody come in and interact with us while we're talking and getting our opinions out there. So back onto where you can find me. You can find me on Twitter at Dreadpool, and the O's are actually zeros. YouTube, gamer tag, It's all letters and all caps. Wednesday nights, you can find me at 8 p.m. on Gaming Beyond the Box. And then Saturdays, they got Playcasters, which this month I'm not a part of because I'm hosting a haunted house or sponsoring a haunted house. And they will be without me, but they will be doing Among Us this weekend. And then every Friday, right here, you can find us 10 a.m. Eastern talking about everything. And then Breaking Bread with Dread. I am actually working on the one from last week that I recorded. My guest ended up, we'll say he partied a little too hard. So he never made it, but I got Tempest's son. So I will spoil who it was. It's Tempest's son that actually made it, but I will not spoil who it wasn't because we actually recorded after Friday, which was Saturday. We got together and we did another recording. So I've been so busy, I haven't even released the Tempest Sun one, the second Tempest Sun recording. So I'm hoping to do it this weekend. And shortly thereafter, I'll get to the other guest and get that one released.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely looking forward to that, brother. Super appreciate it. And I think the new show is definitely worth watching. And last and no way least, Crispy Bomb, thank you so much for being here, brother. As usual, you, like me, are very busy, especially in the podcast gaming realm. I don't even know when we have time for gaming, which is what we're supposed to be doing. But of course, definitely appreciate you being here. Tell everyone where they can follow you on social media, potentially get cut in half by you by a chainsaw or shot in the face with a shotgun, playing Gears. But more importantly, what other shows are you on?
Always a pleasure. These gentlemen always give me a good laugh at times. You know, I'm not going to brand myself. You sure? I'm actually super excited. I didn't pick the time, by the way, but I'm joining Italian Clowns, 4 Guys with Quarters at 5, and we are interviewing the composer from Lion's Head Entertainment. And they did Gears of War 5, 4, and Ultimate Edition, the composition for it. So that is going to be really awesome. And I'm going to be kind of fanboying out a bit because I love the music, especially 5. I mean, it gets you into the universe immediately. It gets you ramped up. So I'm really excited for that. You can find me on Retro Renegades Tuesday night, 7 p.m. You can find me on the next podcast Thursday, 7 p.m. You can find me here on Breakfast with Boom. Follow me on Twitter at Crispy Bomb, and you can hit me up on Xbox Live, Crispy Bomb 28.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for being here, as always. And of course, I want to say a big thank you to the chat. We had over 700 people here, and Lethal Papa keeping it down as usual with his walk silently and carry a very big band stick, which we know he's been doing. Obviously, he is the reason why this is a safe space. He takes his job seriously, and he is a trusted friend and brother. And obviously, if you are banned, don't come at me on DM and be like, why was I banned? Because he has full authority to do it because I trust him. And he doesn't do it if you have a difference of opinion. He does it when you're an a-hole. And we want to keep those a-holes off of this program because, again, this is supposed to be fun. And if you're here to make trouble, don't worry about me. Worry about him. So thank you again, Lethal Papa, as always. And of course, I have to say a big thank you to the unbelievable amount of generosity that continues to come the way of Double Barrel Gaming. I am honestly humbled every time I get a super chat. I expect nothing, and I am truly, truly grateful for it. So everyone, I want to wish everyone a fantastic weekend. I want you to enjoy gaming on whatever you enjoy gaming on. And also, I'm going to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully, one day it will be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught me. It made me a better police officer, but more importantly, made me a better human being. And he used to say this: son, treat others how you yourself want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.